Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're an aspiring junior developer looking to build your very first piece of the internet, you are exactly where you need to be. Today, we're taking a journey into the architectural blueprint of the web. Imagine a sprawling, futuristic cyber metropolis. Before the neon lights, before the self-driving cars, someone had to lay the grid, right? Someone literally had to build the structural skeleton.
Okay, let's dive into this. What actually holds this entire digital universe together? I mean, when you visit Google or Netflix or just a personal blog, what is the invisible framework supporting every single interaction? Think about it like you're planning to build a house. Before you can even start thinking about what color to paint the living room or, what couch to buy, you've got to have a foundation. You need walls. You need a roof. Without that raw foundational structure, nothing else can exist.
And in the digital world, that foundational blueprint is HTML. That stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It's the absolute structural foundation of the World Wide Web. Its whole job is just to tell your web browser exactly what content exists on a page and how that content should be organized. Just like a real construction blueprint dictates exactly where the doors and windows go, HTML tells your browser where the text and images belong.
Actually, before we go any further, we need to clear up a pretty massive misconception. A lot of beginners kind of assume HTML is a programming language. It isn't. Programming languages perform logic, right? They do math, they run conditions, loops, they make complex decisions. HTML does absolutely none of those things. It's a markup language. It simply marks up or describes the structure and meaning of your content. It's the architectural blueprint, definitely not the electrical wiring.
Moving into Section 1, the foundation, elements, and tags.
Let's step into the workshop and look at the actual materials we use to build this framework. Think of these as the glowing, holographic steel beams holding our digital structures together. HTML uses tags to define content. So think of tags as the literal labels attached to your digital construction materials. You start with an opening p tag, inside angle brackets, you write your text, and then you finish with a closing p tag that has a /. You're basically slapping a label on that text telling the browser, hey, this piece of content right here, this is a paragraph. It really is that simple, and it's the absolute core of everything we build.
Okay, on to Section 2, head versus body, the cyber metropolis. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is how it perfectly contrasts the hidden intelligence of a web page with its visible interface. Every single HTML document is divided into two primary zones, the head and the body. The head section is like your internal systems, the underground command center. It contains all the invisible metadata, the page title up on your browser tab, and connections to external files. Users rarely see it, but it feeds vital info to search engines. On the flip side, the body section is the visible living space. It's the bustling city streets above ground. Headings, text, images, buttons, literally every single thing a user actually sees and interacts with lives right here in the body.
Which brings us to Section 3, essential building blocks.
So, we know the body section houses our visible content, but what specific elements are we actually using to build these digital environments? These are the glowing building blocks rapidly materializing all around our cyber metropolis. You've got headings to define titles and create a clear hierarchy. You have paragraphs for your text, images to communicate visually, lists to keep things organized, and forms to collect user input, like when you log in. But the most crucial element of all? The anchor element. Anchor elements create hyperlinks. Without links, every website would just be a completely isolated island. Anchors act as these digital wormholes, instantly teleporting users from one page to another, weaving all these separate documents into the massive, interconnected World Wide Web.
As you build, these elements start interacting with each other. This brings us to nesting and the DOM. In HTML, elements often live inside other elements. Just imagine nesting as putting boxes inside of boxes. You might have a big container box, and inside that, a heading box and a paragraph box. This parent-child relationship creates a massive tree-like hierarchy called the Document Object Model, or the DOM for short. You can picture the DOM as this colossal, inverted living tree of light extending through cyberspace, with the main document at the root and all your nested elements branching outward.
Let's jump into Section 4, the power of semantics.
As our digital city planning has evolved from the early days of static web pages to modern standards, we've moved away from generic containers. Back in the day, developers basically just threw unmarked boxes everywhere. First, you have generic containers, mostly the div tag. A div is literally just an empty box. Early websites used them for absolutely everything, and hey, it worked, but it had no real meaning. But on the other hand, you have semantic HTML. Tags like header, article, and nav. Using semantic tags is like hiring an intelligent AI city planner. Instead of just handing the browser a generic box, you're clearly defining meaningful districts. This is huge because it dramatically improves accessibility for screen readers, makes your code way easier to maintain, and significantly boosts your search engine optimization. Next up, Section 5, the complete ecosystem, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript.
So, we've got our structural blueprint down. But HTML doesn't work alone. Think of building a modern web page like building a high-performance car. Step 1 is HTML. That gives you the raw structural frame and the body of the car. Then, step 2 is CSS. CSS arrives like this futuristic design energy. It's the paint, the styling, the layout, the whole visual vibe. Finally, step 3 is JavaScript. JavaScript acts as the intelligent engine, providing the behavior, the controls, and all that cool interactivity. But always remember, without that HTML frame, the paint has absolutely nothing to stick to and the engine has nothing to move.
As a mentor to you, an aspiring junior developer, I really want to emphasize this quote: master HTML and you'll understand the foundation upon which the modern web is built. Look, I know it's super tempting to rush straight into flashy styling or complex logic, but you really need to understand this blueprint first. In fact, I've got a practical task for you today. Open up a simple text editor, something like Notepad or VS Code on your computer. Create a new file, save it as an HTML file, and just type out a basic head and body section. Drop a heading tag and a paragraph tag into the body, save it, and literally just drag that file right into your web browser to test it. You'll instantly see your very own simple page layout come to life. It is such a cool feeling, and honestly, it's your vital first step.
Every single massive platform you use today started as a simple HTML document. Whether you're planning to build a personal portfolio, a local business website, or even the next billion-dollar AI startup, your journey begins with these exact tags, these elements, and this exact structure. So I'll leave you with this one thought. Armed with the true blueprint of the web, what will you build in the digital metropolis?
If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, like this video, comment your favorite programming language, subscribe to Future Break Coder, because many exciting coding and futuristic tech